Adapt to survive. That is our lesson for today. Let's look at the objectives of the lesson. Number 1, compare and contrast the terms adaptation, adaptability, and antifragility. Comparing and contrasting has something to do with looking for the similarities and differences of these concepts. Next, second, determine the importance and relevance of adaptation, adaptability, and antifragility. Are these concepts important, especially during this time of pandemic? Is it practical to talk about this? Number 3. Give specific examples by which organisms exhibit or manifest the three concepts. So you're expected to come up with your own examples or think about other examples other than those that are mentioned in this presentation. Number 4. Propose various ways humans can develop amid COVID-19. Okay. Number 5. Perform the activities at the end of the presentation. So as early as this point, you have to choose a partner so that after this presentation, you can perform the activity right away. And number 6, answer the questions at the end of this presentation. Besides the paired activity, you will individually try to answer these questions at the end of the presentation. There are, I think, more than 6 questions that you have to answer individually. So you really have to make sure that you watch this video from beginning to end. What is adaptation? Adaptation has something to do with the change or the process of change by which an organism or species becomes better suited to its environment. Better suited means having all these traits or maybe body structures that would allow it to survive. Another definition says ability to adjust to different conditions within their environments. How is that? Because environmental changes are part of the natural cycle. And so if an organism is to survive, it has to be able to adjust to these environmental changes. What makes adaptation possible? Look at this illustration. There are 3 things. Number 1, mutation. The second one is descendants or offsprings. And the third one is survival. How does this work? Mutation has something to do with a random change in the DNA or chromosomes. When mutation is successful, the trait is passed on to the descendants or offsprings. Now, these offsprings or descendants would manifest or exhibit the mutated trait. And if this mutated trait allows that organism to live or reproduce, it would aid its survival in the natural environment, thereby making sure that the species would continue its existence. So how do adaptations help animals survive in their environment? The first one is it allows the organisms to live in that environment, whether it is marine environment or terrestrial environment. And the second one is reproduction or the ability to reproduce. How's that? Because the organism's ability to reproduce makes sure there is continuation of that species in the environment, in the ecosystem, and on Earth in general. What are the different types of adaptation? There are actually 3 types of adaptation. And these are structural adaptation, physiological adaptation, and behavioral adaptation. Let's talk about structural adaptation first. The word itself, structural, means simply involves parts, anatomical parts of an animal's body, such as teeth, body covering, or even the shape of the body is a structural adaptation. Take note, guys, these are just 3 of the structural adaptations of organisms. Let's take a look at examples. The teeth of crocodiles and alligators allow it to tear and grind its food. The expanded and long ears of hares allow it to sense its environment to protect it against potential predators that might kill it. It also allows the organism to regulate its body temperature, especially during seasonal changes. Number 3 is a turtle. If you notice, the turtle has this ability to retract its head inside its body, and that ability is a structural adaptation. Another one would be its shell. The shell of a turtle is hard enough to protect its internal organs. And last is a whale. A whale is a mammal that swims. It has fins that allow it to swim. Not all mammals have that, of course. In the human body, we have different body systems. Here I have 12 body systems. These body systems are made up of different structures with different functions. But overall, its main goal is to make sure that the organism lives. We have camouflage. What is camouflage? It's also called protective coloration. It allows the organism to blend into its environment. Blending means you will not be able to spot it right away, or it takes its color from the environment where it lives. It makes it hard for predators to single out prey, or the other way around, meaning it makes it hard for prey to single out the predators. If you look at the example here, this is a rabbit that blends with the ground's color. Okay, do you see the protective coloration of the fish? This is the fish. There's another one here. Do you see the protective coloration of the organism? It's a moth. And we also have a fish here that blends itself with small rocks. Another one, let's see. Okay, so we have it here. We have a frog and an amphibian and goats. The mountain goats look like rocks. It makes it difficult for the predator to spot them right away. And this is the chameleon. Look at the pigments that makes the chameleon able to blend with the color of the environment. The next one is mimicry. What is mimicry? It allows one animal to look, sound, or act like another animal to fool predators to think it is poisonous or dangerous. Look at the example. An owl eats moths and butterflies. But in this case, if you look closely, the moth mimics the appearance of an owl, thereby protecting itself from getting eaten. And we have eastern coral snakes and scarlet king snake. One is non-venomous or poisonous, non-poisonous, and the other one is venomous. This is the actual photo of a venomous eastern coral snake and the non-venomous scarlet king snake. So the scarlet king snake, which is a non-poisonous type of snake, mimics the color of a poisonous or venomous snake. It allows the scarlet king snake to protect itself because no one would try to mess up with him because they don't want to die. Spot the caterpillar in this picture and spot the snake. Is there a snake shown here, or are these all caterpillars? This shows mimicry. Which one is a fly? Which one is a bee? You must be able to spot the difference. Let's proceed with physiological adaptation. When you say physiological adaptation, it has something to do with the changes in organisms' metabolic processes. When you say metabolic processes, it refers to the sum total of all the physiological processes occurring inside the body. Now, there are two examples of physiological adaptations that organisms may develop. The first one is drug resistance in bacteria, and the second one is pesticide resistance. It involves insects. Let's look at drug resistance. How does it work? So here, you have a set of antibiotics applied to certain types of bacteria. What happens is not all bacteria die during the administration of the antibiotics, and those who survive the exposure to the antibiotics would develop immunity or resistance. And because of that, you have to use a higher dosage or use another type of medicine to kill or eliminate the drug-resistant bacteria. So you will notice it says here, free DNA contain antibiotic resistance genes. So that's physiological adaptation. The second one is pesticide resistance. Let's see how it develops. So it's the same thing. You have pests eating plants, especially the leaves. The farmers have decided to apply pesticides, kabush. As a result of the pesticide application, some pest population died, but there were survivors. These survivors developed resistance, then they reproduced. So the moment a new set of pesticides, same pesticide is applied, these resistant pests, they would not die. And as a result of that, they will be able to reproduce. Of course, the succeeding generation of the pests would be pesticide resistant. That's how pesticide resistance works. Let's say, for example, in the case of circulation, oxygen and nutrients will be transported to the different cells. And during respiration, it's a way of taking out or eliminating gases like carbon dioxide. Let's go to behavioral adaptation. It includes activities that help an animal survive, of course. What kind of activity? It can be a learned behavior or an instinctive behavior. Of course, when you say learned behavior, it's something that you have seen from someone modeling it or doing it, and you imitate it by doing the same behavior. Instinctive means it's something that you do as a result of certain situations. Okay, example, social behavior and behavior for protection. Okay, we have social behavior. Social behavior, these are actually behaviors that the society demands from us or expects from us. Like, for example, in business organizations, you are expected to obey, comply, become a good team player, go to work on time. And in friendly relationships, of course, you're expected to be honest and not to betray them. In universities, it's like you doing some online schooling, you are required to, of course, obey the rules, comply with the requirements of the teachers, and work as a good team player during projects. And in the family, you are expected to support, care, and love the members of the family and obey your parents and be a good son or a good daughter. Those are social behaviors. What about behavior for protection? How does it work? Okay. Yeah. The mother tiger would eat you up if you mess with its kid or baby tiger. Even birds show mother instinct. The mother protects the chicks. Okay, that's instinctive behavior. Now, another example of behavioral adaptation is migration. Involves an animal or group of animals moving from one region to another region and then back again. Reasons for migration: one, better climate; second, better food; safe place to live, safe place to raise young, and then go back to the place where they were born. Here are examples. This is an example of human migration. These are Syrian refugees who wanted to move to another country because they want to escape a very dangerous place. This one is a photo of birds migrating. Another one. This one is a photo of millions of monarch butterflies migrating from southern Canada all the way to the United States and as far as Mexico due to seasonal changes. So if you look at the map, it shows the migratory patterns or migration patterns of the monarch butterflies. Another example of behavioral adaptation is hibernation, which means deep sleep. So what happens during hibernation? The animal's body temperature drops, the body activity or metabolism slows down, paving the way for the conservation of energy. So hibernation is a combination of physiological and behavioral adaptation. And these are pictures of hibernating animals. The first one is a bat, this one is a squirrel, and this one is a bear. Let's take a look at other photos. Alright, so hibernating bear, hibernating bat, and hibernating frog. So if you notice this, it's winter time. So the frog burrows deep into the ground and wait for the situation to stabilize. After winter, it would come out. Alright, let's talk about plant adaptations at this point. So how do plants adapt? Of course, just like animals, they have structural and behavioral adaptation. Adaptation to get food. How does it work? Leaves and stems absorb energy from the sun. So you have it, cactus, and here, broad leaves. The broader the leaves, the greater the intensity of sunlight getting absorbed. This one is a modified stem, and the thorns are the leaves. Adaptations to get water and nutrients. The roots of the plants are the adaptive structures. They soak up water and nutrients from the soil. Adaptations for reproduction. Brightly colored flowers, attracting pollinators such as bees, birds, and insects, allowing it to transfer the pollen grains from the pollen grains. Adaptations for reproduction. Continuation, we have sweet fruit, attracts animals that spread seeds far away. There, apples. And some seeds are shaped to catch the wind. There. So when the wind blows, the seeds are spread far, far away. That's why it explains why you'll see a wide coverage of certain plant species, let's say in a forest or in a mountain, or maybe in your garden. Adaptations for defense, pines and thorns. There. Adaptations to get water and nutrients. Besides roots, desert flowers stay dormant, meaning they are inactive for several months and they come to life when it begins to rain. Adaptation for reproduction. Plants drop seeds to grow new offsprings, just like so. When the fruit matures, the seeds fall to the ground and a new life begins there. Okay, let's talk about adaptability. Is this different from adaptation? And if it is, what is the degree of difference? Adaptability is simply the ability to change and meet immediate demands. I mean, the world where we live is complex. Sometimes there's chaos, sometimes there's changes. And being adaptable means we are able to change or be changed to fit altered circumstances. Just like the situation that we are in right now, we are in the middle of a pandemic and we really have to be adaptable. We have to change our ways. The old ways of operation or dealing with people and with things has to be changed. Because if not, you risk contracting the disease or you risk getting the disease. The ability to change or be changed. We were forced to change during this situation because we wanted to survive. So to become more adaptable, what do you need to do? You need to understand behavioral scripts. These determine how you see and react to situations and the world around you. Now, look at this example. If this chameleon fails to change its color to orange or light blue, it will get easily spotted by a predator, and of course, that's bad news for the chameleon. So it's the same thing with us. We have to change our ways of responding to the world and how we see the world. We cannot operate based on the old ways that we're used to doing because this one is a different world that we live in right now. So, student context, if you want to succeed, you have to adapt. You have to adapt. Like we are doing online schooling, so you might as well love or learn to love what you do now, because if you keep on resisting online education, then chances are you might not get successful. So what are the ways to embrace adaptability? Stay motivated. So we have 7 ways. Motivation is internal. You are your own coach. Reward yourself. When you reach your goals, even small goals, acknowledge your win and reward yourself. Like if you set, like, let's say, for instance, if you set weekly goals, if you achieve or when you achieve that goal, then you have to reward yourself. I mean, rewards come in simple and complex ways, so it's up to you. The thing is, you have to reward yourself. Hang out with superstars simply means associate with winners, not whiners. Winners. Then keep learning. Even outside online class, you have to keep learning. You read, update yourself by watching videos, documentaries, or maybe commentaries made by experts. You have to keep learning. Next, motion creates emotion. Get up your butt and make things happen. Short action. You have to keep moving. Challenge yourself with a daily goal. So you have to set one thing that you must accomplish or you want to accomplish. Say today, what is your goal for today? At least within today. Say for instance, your goal is to submit your homework and do it. And last, remember what motivates you. Why are you studying? Things like that. What do you want to accomplish in the future? That's why you are investing today. Those are the things. Okay, another thing is to observe. Observe what's going on and react appropriately from what you have observed. Okay? Set aside small things and appreciate the power of small things. Because it says here, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and so it means develop a habit of success. Slowly, step by step, and you'll definitely get there in the future. Okay, antifragility. Says here, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Kanye West. Well, what's the difference between fragile, resilient, and antifragile? Fragile people suffers or breaks from volatility. Volatility means kind of like hostile or wavy, shaky. Resilient people stays the same in volatility. So if there are things going on, anti-fragile people grows and gets stronger from volatility. They don't just stay the same. Become stronger. More downside than upside from volatility. Indifferent to tranquility. In short, your goal is to achieve anti-fragility and not just resiliency. Now they say Filipinos are resilient, but we have to go way beyond resiliency. Because again, when you say resiliency, or when a person is resilient, he just stays the same. Walang nagbabago sa kanya. Parang, say, bumagyo, nasira yung bahay mo. Well, after some time, itatayo mo ulit yung bahay mo. Ganun pa rin yung itsura ng bahay. At least based on the idea of anti-fragility, yung mga anti-fragile na mga tao, tapos ng bagyo, itatayo nila ulit yung bahay nila. But they will not remain na ganun lang yung bahay. Eventually, yung bahay na yun mas magiging maganda at mas matibay. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng anti-fragile. Alright? Just like this example ba yung Hydra. Hydra has this power of regeneration. When you cut the Hydra, after some time, it becomes two live cannon. Alright, okay. Activity time. So, I hope you now have a partner because this is what you need to do with your partner. Name the 3 types of adaptations and give an example of each. For this activity, I do not want you to give examples that are included in this presentation. So you have to think of a different example or examples other than those found here. So since this is a partner activity or this is a paired activity, each of you would give me the 3 types of adaptations, and you have to give me 3 examples. One for each type of the adaptation type. Alright? So, I'll be expecting 6 examples. 3 for each. Then after this, you have to do this work. Answer the following questions by classifying the types of adaptations involved. 3 and number 4. So be ready to answer these questions during the actual online class. And for those who are watching this video for mastery's sake, you have to try answering these questions. Okay? And there, classify the following adaptations. There are 6 adaptations mentioned here. So to my students, I will be asking you randomly to identify this. This is our assessment for this lesson. Okay, so this is the 4th and 5th question, and this is the last. Students have learned to Google answers versus doing their homework. What type of adaptation is this? Is this structural, behavioral, or physiological? Okay, let's go. That's it. We're done with the lesson for today about adaptation, and I hope you learn a lot from today's presentation. So if you like this presentation, don't forget to like and give a thumbs up to this video. Like this video, share, and subscribe to this channel. This is Curious Kamote. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. You have a nice day. Peace. Goodbye.